Hello and welcome to the Team VVV podcast for all your weekly racing game rambles. I'm Martin, and joining me as ever is Kevin.
Hi guys.
Alan.
Hello viewers.
And Ed.
Hi everyone.
As always, if you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button. So obviously Project Cars 2, the rallycross trailer came out this week. We've actually got a separate discussion that goes into considerable depth about that. But I just want to say the music made my ears bleed. I think Ed has a differing opinion on that, though.
No, mate, the music was sick.
It just wasn't.
I think it was somewhere between sick and ear bleeding. So
we can agree to disagree, I think.
Yeah.
It was just someone banging some saucepans and then calling it music.
Fat beats.
It was good. I reckon it captured the vibe of rallycross really well. It's definitely it is that sort of, what did Codemasters call it, a dude bro vibe. That is just what rallycross is like. If you go to Linden Hill, I've been to a rallycross event at Linden Hill, and you got the personalities there. They've got their monster girls out. They're giving out free monsters. Everyone's having a good time, and it's this sort of thing that's going on. So I think it just suited rallycross really well.
Yeah,
you can keep your classical music and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't capture the vibe, like you say. It needs something fast and pounding. So we sort of, I can let them off, put it that way, on this particular trailer, just because it's rallycross, you know, and it's intense. So it needs an intense.
Rallycross is the Ken Block of motor racing, and everything. All the other stuff is like the Peter Windsor of motor racing. You know, you need classical music and all that sort of stuff. That's what it is.
I don't know. It all feels a bit, you know, like some oval somewhere in Essex or something. It all just feels a bit dodgy to me.
Go around Essex Arena and smashing cars together.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like to me. But what do they call it? King of the Ring.
Yeah,
they do.
King of the Ring, man.
No, I don't. I'm sure it's amazing, and they listen to fat tunes.
I guess it does show they are trying to kind of broaden the audience for Project Cars, though. I think in the past it's always had this kind of really serious vibe to it, hasn't it?
It needs some personality. There's no doubt about it. And I think listen, when you're going to make rallycross, you need a bit of personality, and that's why I've mentioned things like the crowds and stuff. You know, you just need a bit of atmosphere, crowd cheering. You know, find out what's unique about that atmosphere when you go there. And that's really what you want. So it's not just about the driving. I mean, a lot of these things, when people go along to see these events, you say, cool, that's a cracking atmosphere down there. And that's what people talk about. It's not just the driving and the action, but it's all being a part of this scene. And I think you need to make sure that you understand the scene of rallycross if you're going to have it in there and make the best of it. You know, it's not just about physics and driving. It's about, you know, what makes the atmosphere, you know. Stuff like that, you know. So it is what it is. But certainly we talk more about that in the Project Cars thing.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously elsewhere we got the Gran Turismo Sport beta this weekend. Obviously we're very much looking forward to that. We're hoping to get some coverage up on the channel. They haven't really revealed an awful lot as to what we can expect in the beta itself, but we had some screenshots recently of some new tracks which look quite promising. What do you guys think of those? It's good to see more, you know, fictional tracks coming to Gran Turismo, because I think that's what Polyphony's always excelled at. Is there any track in particular that really caught your eye?
You know, I mean, I do like fantasy tracks. I think Polyphony have created some cracking fantasy tracks over the years. But you know, it all looks visually very nice, doesn't it? I mean, this is much more like what we were hoping to see. It's got that kind of Gran Turismo look to it. Admittedly, looking at some of the shots, tarmac detail still seems to be quite minimal. There's not much in the way of detail on the tarmac, and that's a thing that's a little concern. The cars themselves look fantastic, but the tarmac looks like it was laid yesterday, and the car's never driven on it. Not so bothered about ovals myself. They don't really interest me. You know, I mean, they show wet cars on an oval. Yeah, let's face it, they just don't race on ovals. So maybe it's got an infield circuit, though. Perhaps I'm wrong there, and there's an infield. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to trying them. But if we get, I mean, admittedly, Kevin is the only one out of us who's actually got an invite so far, but we are hoping that we will get invites. But Kevin will make sure that he gets up some video content and we can talk about the beta, the definitive discussion on Gran Turismo Sport from us. And we look forward to, as I say, as the year goes on, plenty of coverage on this. Wow, what a huge game this is going to be.
I've got to say, that rally track, it looks a little bit flat to me. Doesn't really look like it has much challenge. I mean, it looks gorgeous. You've got the stunning mountains with the snow-capped features and the the massive windmills. Looks amazing. But honestly, looking at these screenshots, it doesn't look that much of a challenge.
Well, the funny thing is that it's kind of based on the same sort of rally that you had in Gran Turismo 3, which was sort of big, wide rally sections based more on Sega Rally than real rallying.
Although with GT3 Rally, I mean, there's a few tracks with massive undulation, so at least there was some fun to be had, as ridiculous as they were. One interesting thing actually was one of the screenshots on the rally track. It was at night, which I thought was interesting, with 2 cars on the track at once, with the headlights on, of course. So that could be quite an interesting little avenue to explore there.
We'll just have to wait and see. I think it's going to be it looked very arcadey, the first track that they show, sliding around lots, big wide track, I don't know. I mean, this is about being esports, so it's got to be challenging in some way. It's got to be seriously challenging. So, I mean, and I've said before that even a wide circuit, game can be quite challenging when you're all about the perfect line, like on gravel, for example.
We love a bit of gravel.
We love a bit of gravel.
Gravel?
We should call it gravel. Yeah, gravel. I mean, we'll just wait and see. I mean, like you say though, surface detail is the only thing that it's like all the work's gone onto the Nordschleife and nobody cares about the rest of it. So let's wait and see how it turns out. But we play it in a few days, so definitive opinion next week.
Basically, they were saying that the screenshots look like Gran Turismo. Very nice cars, very sterile environments.
Yes,
you can tell.
Yes, yeah. All the tarmac shots I see of twisty racetracks look like the tarmac was laid yesterday. There's no detail. There's no life to the circuit. Nothing. It's just like a carpet.
That's it. Of course, we also had some actual news about Gran Turismo Sport this week that had nothing to do with tag hire for once.
Oh.
Or photo mode. No, some news about some actual cars for the first time. Because Porsche is finally making its way into Gran Turismo for the first time since the series began in 15 years. So obviously that's a very big deal to say the least. Good to see they're finally catching up with the competition though, because Forza kind of did that a few years ago.
Yeah.
And Assetto Corsa.
It's like Porsche finally been released, and they're like, "My goodness, now we can go to everyone." And
they have, pretty much.
They have, exactly. They have.
They've just shared themselves around now, and they must have been having it's been very frustrating for Porsche for many years, seeing that they just weren't able to be in these other big up and coming games, and while Need for Speed's gone sort of down the toilet, as it were. So. Yeah, Porsche. I mean, I feel like we've been talking about a Porsche pack every month for like a year. So there's always a Porsche pack somewhere. No sign of that stopping either.
Well, it's funny you should say that because there is another Porsche pack just released for Forza Horizon 3. How about that?
How about that?
More Porsche. The Racing Green World needs another Porsche pack.
Absolutely.
I have to say, I was kind of expecting a few more in the pack because. Obviously, in the previous Forza games, we had full-on expansions that had 15 to 20 Porsches, whereas they've just kept it to a simple, a normal car pack. Whether or not they're going to go down this Assetto Corsa route and release multiple packs, I don't know.
Yeah,
that would seem logical. I think
they've got a main Porsche pack to kick off, and then you might see other odd specific models mixed in with other packs.
Yeah, that's true because they have kind of done the Porsche packs are definitely in Forza.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to be holding back some pretty epic Porsches.
I mean, don't forget we've only had one main DLC for Forza Horizon 3, and at some point they're going to drop another one. They normally do.
You mean in terms of expansions?
In terms of expansions, yeah. Sorry, So
it's interesting because I thought the next expansion would be another Porsche expansion. I think a lot of people assume that. So
yeah,
it makes you wonder what they're going to do next.
So, but either way, that's a solid collection, great selection of cars. So, and nice screenshots as well. I love the photos. Really nice photos of the profile of the cars. They really do get their cars, don't they, at Playground Games?
Oh yeah, I mean there is a reason why it won our award for the best vehicle selection. They get it right every time. I don't know how they do it, but they always get that balance of quality and quantity just right, which I think sometimes other racing games do struggle with.
Yeah, and just general selection. They've really got that sort of automotive mindset there about what is good in the automotive world. I like that. So
yeah, it's quite petrol head for petrol head, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
very much so. Anyway, I want to move on actually to some of the more recent racing game releases we've had that haven't had all that much coverage. I thought we'd start with Urban Trial Freestyle 2. Now this came out on the Nintendo 3DS, but none of us actually own one apart from Ed, so it was up to him to.
I bet you guys do own one. You just wanted me to play it. Oh yeah, we'll give that one to Ed.
You're right. We're too embarrassed to admit that we own one.
See all these closeted Pokemon gamers in Team VVV.
Just for the record,
I'm proud. I'm proud of the fact.
I was a massive fan of DS, original DS, and I did play a Pokemon game on there once. So.
Once.
Well, one game, again. Like multiple times. So.
Of course, Alan, you're a resident Pokemon player. You should have.
Oh yeah, I love a bit of Pokemon. Me.
It's all about the Poke. We got to catch them all.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what did you think of Urban Trial Freestyle 2, Ed? Was it similar to Trials?
Enjoyable game. It was an enjoyable game. I think the original game, I don't know if any of our viewers are familiar with it, it was basically the PlayStation's answer to Trials HD and the success that was having. Obviously, Trials and Red Lynx have owned that space really for yonks, so it's interesting to see a slightly different take on it. All in all, it's a good game. I feel like it's got some good fundamental physics and gameplay behind it, which has got that same sort of vibe that you get from Trials, where you make a little mistake and you want to restart, and you hit that restart button so many times your thumb starts hurting.
Yeah, it does seem ideal actually for a handheld platform, I think.
It's something that really, really suits the handheld platform. As I was playing it and getting used to the game, it's the kind of thing I was we go around my grandparents' house for Sunday lunch and take the 3DS along, and while everyone's having their nap after dinner, you can whip it out and try and master a level on there, and it's good fun for that. It's really good fun for that.
Would you say it's more accessible than Trials games?
Definitely. Well, it had to make some allowances for the fact that the 3DS is, it's got digital buttons, and the thumbstick has got nowhere near the amount of detail that you can get on an Xbox controller, for example. So you've got the allowances for that. So it's a bit more forgiving. So like you could almost turn your bike almost all the way upside down, and as long as your rear wheel is touching the ground, you could like lunge forwards back to recover.
Cool.
And it's little things like that, but it keeps the funness of the game in there. It makes it less frustrating. And they've got interesting things in there, like massive sort of piston things that launch you across the map and stuff. There's some fun elements in there.
How long were the levels out of interest? Were they quite short to make it more suitable for the handheld?
Yeah, they're not as long as Trials. Definitely, they're a bit shorter, a bit more simple.
There's one level in Trials that was like 20 minutes long. I seem to remember.
Really?
Imagine there's not any of those in the Urban Trial Freestyle 2.
I really want to get to there's like about 5 sort of areas, and each one has got 5 or 6 different levels in it. And by the time you get to the end of them, there's like one last place that you can unlock, which is called the challenge. And I really want to unlock it, but you've got to get like perfect ratings on all the other tracks in order to unlock it. So it's quite difficult to get to. Definitely one for the more hardcore gamer on there. It's a fun game. It's really fun to be able to master the career mode tracks that are in there. And for me, especially, I really like getting the time trials down, getting the fastest time. You can also go into, there's 2 modes. There's time trial and stunt mode. Stunt mode, you're doing things like you've got to do a flip, or you've got to make the highest jump or the furthest jump and things like that as you're playing through. It's very, very similar to the first game, if any of you are familiar with that. So it's a continuation on that. The big letdown for me of this game, though, is the online capabilities of like the custom track builder. So you've got a custom track builder in there, and you can grab every object that you've seen throughout the career and build a custom track that you could spend hours and hours in the custom track builder, building a really detailed track. You could definitely get some tracks in there that are really, really challenging, and it's a bit annoying because there's a feature that you can download other people's tracks that they've made. But in order to do that, you need to find out what the unique ID is for their track, which it gives you. You share the track and it just tells it to you on the screen for a second, and you've got to note it down before it goes away.
Wow.
So you get this like a 7-digit number. You've got to know that number, and you have to have the person on your friends list on the DS in order to download their track, which I think on the DS you've got to add them and they've got to add you back independently as well to have that going on. So it's a bit...
See, that reminds me of games from back in the the SNES era, when you had to get the password for each individual level to unlock it.
Yeah, those were the days, weren't they?
Yeah.
I used to have A4 sheet with like loads of codes on there.
Yeah, same.
And it just takes one digit to be wrong, and that's it. You're totally screwed.
My instruction manuals were just full of them.
I'm
that was
guessing
a bit of a letdown for me, really. I really wanted to try out a custom track, and there's me trying it out like just as the game's being released, and of course there's no one's done anything. I can't find anything online of anyone that's made a custom track and shared it, so it's just impossible for me to have tried anyone else's tracks out, and I doubt there's going to be much activity there. It's not exactly got the biggest player base, so
no, that does sound very restrictive, I have to say.
Yeah,
needlessly so. I think it does suit the handheld platform, but I think on the other hand, it is a shame it's not getting a wider release, because obviously the original game did come out on multiple platforms, and there is a market for it at the moment.
Yeah, and especially in light of the Trials of the Blood Dragon with its on-foot platforming sections that many people were pretty angry about.
Yeah.
So it could have really capitalised on that.
Forgot about that game.
Released for multiple platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I was a bit disappointed with Trials Fusion in a way. The futuristic setting just didn't really do it for me.
No, I guess they're trying out new things, and they really need to stick to the sort of nitty and gritty that they had, didn't they, in the original titles.
Yeah, exactly. So, in terms of other recent racing game releases, then we also had the Steam release actually of Flatout 4. Now, we're not very fond of that game. You may have read our review on the website. Basically, just wait for Wreckfest was our main conclusion on that one. But so the PC release has come out a few weeks later than the console version, and interestingly, it's been released with some exclusive new features.
Pray tell.
It's not that exciting. Don't get your hopes up. It's just new car, exclusive cars, different drivers. I think you can download some of the music tracks. But buried in the notes, it says that wheel support's coming for the PC version.
Okay, that's interesting.
But not for the consoles.
It's good. Yeah, well, is it too a bit late? Isn't it? I mean, I'm just but yeah, that's good. I will have to try it on the PC and play it at 60 frames per second.
Frame rate.
Got to be done. Got to be done with a wheel. So when's this wheel compatibility coming then?
They didn't say.
They didn't say. At some point, one day.
They're working on it. I'm not really sure if the handling really suits a wheel, though, to be honest. At least not on the console. It's just it's very twitchy and erratic.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play anything on a wheel. It's extra fun for me personally. Even the sort of really arcadey games. Once you get used to it, once you get dialed in, you can have a lot of fun, even on these sort of seemingly uncompatible games with wheels. So.
Well, sometimes some games actually, like you say, look at Project Cars. It was great with the wheel. It was twitchy with the controller, and sometimes some of the twitchiest racing games with a controller convert perfectly to the wheel. So it really is just about how rugged it is. And look at Wreckfest. I mean, that's great with the wheel.
Cool.
So, yeah, interesting. We'll keep an eye on that.
I love how they've released. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, we'll keep an eye out.
Let's see what you did.
Boom, boom.
Very nice. Smooth. I also love how they've they've released videos actually showing you how to unlock the cars.
Yes. Now I'm wondering, was that in light of our comments? You know, so.
Oh my god, I can't think of any other racing game where that's happened.
Yeah, how you play it? Yeah,
about the game when they've got to release a video like that.
That was telling, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
But it does say, by the looks of it, you have to complete quite a lot of the main Flatout events, a lot of the cars in the other modes.
That's what was puzzling us, because we was getting through the main career mode, and still we had a number of vehicles that we didn't unlock, and that's what we couldn't understand. But like you say, it's you have to unlock quite a few of the vehicles from a different mode, which was surprising to see.
Yeah. Well, either way, perhaps they listened to you guys and thought, "Hey, hang on, people just aren't getting this." So,
maybe they'll improve the damage modeling as well. That's probably wishful.
You tell them, Martin.
What can I say? Can you tell I'm a fan of the series? But yeah, I mean, I can see why they've done that in the way there, because it does make you explore the other game modes more, but it should at least tell you in the game how to unlock the cars.
Yes.
I think that's just the fundamental problem.
It's almost like they don't have a UX designer, or
yeah,
whoever they have employed as a UX designer isn't doing their job.
Quite possibly. But yeah, I mean, has that ever happened before? Has any other game have to release a video with just showing how to unlock the cars? I can't think of any other one.
There must have been other games with similar problems, I reckon.
Probably. But yeah, either way, it's out on Steam right now. I think there's a discount if you buy it in the next week or so. So do check that out. Otherwise, of course, there's also Wreckfest on early access. Whenever that decides to come out of early access, we still don't know. But yeah, there we go. So Flatout 4 was obviously a resurgence of the long-lost destruction derby racing genre. Recently, we've also seen a return to snow racing games, actually, surprisingly, with the release of Snow Motor Racing Freedom, to give its full name.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Aqua Moto Racing Utopia.
No, I was going to say it's from the same people that brought you Aqua Moto Racing Utopia, which was a water-based racing game.
Yeah. And I kind of wish they sort of meshed up the names, because if they called it Snow Moto Utopia Racing Freedom,
yeah, you get the connection then, yeah.
Then you would have the abbreviation Smurf.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the connection's a bit lost then, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought it'd be cool. Sort of blue snow, maybe, Smurf.
It's all in the detail. It's all in the detail.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see a new snowmobile racing game. I mean, I can't remember the last time one came out. I mean, the series that comes to mind, I think it's called Sled Storm on the PS1, PS2. I can't remember that. I guess you could say we've had Blizzard Mountain, but that doesn't really count because it doesn't have dedicated snow vehicles in it as such. Yeah. In terms of snowmobiles and things like that. There's also, actually, I remember MotorStorm Arctic Edge on the PSP.
Okay, it's a bit obscure.
It is a bit obscure, admittedly. I'm scraping the barrel a bit there, but either way. I had a quick go on it, and I don't know what to make of it. It's a bit underwhelming from what I've played so far. I don't know if you had similar thoughts, Kevin.
Yeah, very brief go so far. I will be doing a review for this title. So when I put more time into it, maybe we can have a chat in a future podcast. But graphically, it's not inspiring. I don't know. We'll see how it is with the different tricks and stuff. It might be a fun game, but yeah, I'm really going to have to put more time into it before I can make any sort of judgment. But first impressions, not massively impressed.
No. I don't know, it just didn't seem very fun, because I think, like before with Aqua Motor Racing, you've really got to... it's quite easy to miss the checkpoints, I find.
Yeah.
I think this game has the same problem, and I just didn't find it that enjoyable.
Which I will say, it's when you're turning, it's very sensitive, I find.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to bump into the side of the checkpoint. You're supposed to go through the sort of archway, I think it is, of the checkpoint. And it's very easy to hit into the side, and you can come to an abrupt halt. So it is, you've got to be very smooth with your inputs, which is, it's a bit surprising, because you feel it's going to be arcade racing. It's, you can zoom past it really quickly with sort of very aggressive movements, but it's nothing like that at all. You have to be very, very subtle on your inputs to get the sort of most out of it.
Yeah, so I think combined with the checkpoints, what I'm trying to say is it's not very accessible.
No, I guess not. I like the fact that the checkpoints are mixed up, so you can sort of make your own route to the next checkpoint in a sense, you know. So it has that going for it, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of visuals and audio, though, it really does leave a lot to be desired. I think it's fair to say it could be mistaken for a mobile release.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the moment that perhaps Moto is the better of the two games, but like I say, I got to put more time into it and see how it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because Moto Race is a bit more vibrant.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think that does have something to do with it. It feels more arcadey, more fun. You know, more of a old school fun vibe.
The environments just look that bit more bland.
Yes,
in the in Snow Motor Racing Freedom.
Yeah.
So I think really it's just more fun to race on water than it is on snow.
I think so. Yeah. I think what they probably need more like jumps and stuff put in. It just seems a little bit too, like you say, bland. It's missing that sort of spectacle and, you know, a bit of fun. Yeah,
it just comes across as dull to me, to be honest. I'm trying to find out how much it is actually on the store. I've got a feeling it's something like £20, something like that.
Is it really?
It seems a tad overpriced.
That seems very steep. Pardon the pun.
Bear in mind, I mean,
yes,
Aqua Motor Racing, that was $24.99 on release. Would you say it was worth that much?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that's a no.
To me, that's like a, you know, between £8 to £10 title.
For a digital only game, that is very expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It's better. I'm trying to find the price. I've got a feeling it's about £20, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's $24.99.
Oh, yeah.
That's an expensive mobile game.
It is, yeah.
Well, saying that, I mean, for PlayStation Plus members, it's £17.49.
Oh, well, then you should have said, you know.
That's still not exactly a bargain, though, is it?
No, it's not.
But we'll have some more judgments then on Snow Motor Racing soon, probably in the next podcast.
Yep.
So I guess that just leaves another recent racing game announcement. If you're a fan of your car films, you may know that Pixar's Cars 3 is coming out this year. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. I think it looks a lot better than Cars 2, put it that way. It sets a sort of darker, more mature tone for the series. And of course, it has to have a game tie-in. I think what's the most notable thing to say about Cars 3, the video game, is that it's coming out on PS3 and Wii U, as well as PS4 and Xbox One. This could be the last generation game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do release, I think only a few years ago, they released a FIFA title on a PS2. So I think maybe FIFA would probably got that title down, you know, so.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that actually, yeah. So there's a trailer for Cars 3, the game, on the website. And you can kind of see its last generation roots. I think it doesn't look that spectacular graphically, but you know, either way, it could still be a fun pick up and play arcade racer, which obviously we're lacking a lot of at the moment. There's not that many sort of, I want to say, kid-friendly racing games at the moment.
No, there isn't. I mean, you know, we're all looking for this fun pick up and play title, and even the pick up and play titles don't seem to be much fun these days. So who knows? Exactly. I mean, graphically, it doesn't inspire. It's probably held back because of the last gen compatibility. You know, they've got a number of cars. They've got 20 vehicles. So that's a decent amount of trucks as well. So who knows? It's all going to be down to the handling and, you know, how you gain boost and things like that. So, so it's out July 13, so not long to wait. No, and it came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, completely out of nowhere. I mean, there was a game actually for Cars 2 when that came out, which actually wasn't bad, if I remember.
Yeah, was that the Moto National Championship?
No, I think that was another one. There was a direct Cars 2 game time for the film.
Okay.
I mean, let's face it, film times don't have the best of reputations.
Yeah, I played one of them. I think it was on the 360, driving around the desert somewhere. It's like an open plan thing or something, open world thing or something, open road anyway, which was sort of fun enough for what it was. But it was a bit bland and, you know, not engaging enough. I suppose it is aimed at a younger audience, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I'd probably still get bored with it. There's not enough arcade games out there right now, and I think a more straightforward arcade racing game would have been better for that style. Like you say, it's a genre that will come back though, because soon we're going to have gravel.
I knew that was coming. Yes, it's all
safe.
down to gravel, I think, to resurrect the arcade racing formula.
Yes.
Which Flatout 4 unfortunately failed to do, which is a shame. But yeah, so Cars 3, that's out in July. We haven't exactly got high hopes for it, I don't think. But yeah, it could be a fun, accessible, affordable racing game for younger audiences, but we'll wait and see. Actually, speaking of film times, we also had the was it Fast and Furious 8 DLC for Rocket League. Does that interest you in the slightest, Kevin? You can drive Dom's Dodge Charger.
No, I tend to keep my cars quite plain, actually, because for me, I'm just all about the gameplay and not the sort of frilly bits on top. I can understand why people like it, of course, but no, I'm more of a really hardcore player that doesn't really bother with the liveries. I mean, I did bother to some extent before, and I just wiped all the stuff off my car and just kept it plain. And do you know what? By keeping the car plain, you actually stand out more than the guys that have their cars all done up, because very few people actually keep it plain.
Yeah, I'm the same, actually, funny enough. Whenever I play a racing game, I rarely bother to customize it. I always prefer to have my car stock.
Stock, yes. Stock is best.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that, I must say.
I got that DLC. Mainly because of the wheels.
It's all about the wheels.
So I could use the wheels on the other cars. You get when you get a new car on Rocket League, the wheels become available for you to use on the other cars.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool to have a set of wheels that are actually real.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Whereas all the other ones are doing these crazy things and animated and all sorts of business going on with the other wheels. And now my Octane has got some pretty sick looking actual real alloys on them. So pretty pleased, really.
I still can't believe we've got 8 Fast and Furious films. How did that happen?
Yeah, they get more and more crazy.
There's 8 Fast and Furious films. It's just an unstoppable money-making machine. It's unbelievable.
And they jumped the shark quite a few episodes ago, didn't they? So
just a bit. I mean, they're practically superheroes now.
Yeah.
There's what did I see on Facebook earlier? Facebook showed me a trailer of that Baby Driver.
Oh, that looks so much better.
No, it looks so good.
Yeah, that's a very old school kind of driving film. I'm really looking forward to that. It's directed by Edgar Wright as well, who of course did Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and all that. Really good driving skill on display as well, actually, if you look at some of the stunts. There's a bit where he does a 360 turn, I think, and he does a drift around a corner right in the same shot, and it's one clean cut. Whereas if that was in Fast and Furious, there'll probably be about 15 different cuts for the one scene.
Well, who knows? Some of that could have been Ben Collins. I mean, Ben Collins, he's working on a film, he said. He's been working on a film he can't talk about. So maybe it's something like that. So, and he was saying that he's in Fast and the Furious. He actually has to wear a bald hat to pretend to be Vin Diesel in the car. So
I've done quite a few of them, I think.
Quite a few of them, that powering around.
Maybe he did some of the stunts in, I think it was 6, but they filmed it in Glasgow.
To go with a bald wig, I wonder if he has to wear like a muscle suit on top of his clothes as well.
Probably. Probably wear something. It depends what Vin Diesel's wearing, but they'll make him look just like him. I mean, I forgot that he's actually done several James Bond films. I just had Spec 2 in mind. But what was the one with the amazing car chase? Quantum Solace was the one with the crazy car chase at the beginning.
Just opens right with the Aston Martin DBS chase.
That is an amazing bit of driving there, wasn't it? I was saying, it's good that it must be fun spending his time with the stars, and I mean, they must be impressed with your driving. And he says, if I wasn't good at my job, put it this way, they wouldn't employ me again. So they must enjoy it. And he just really rinses those cars, frankly.
Really dangerous stunt driving actually in that film. I think there were quite a few bad accidents on location. The editing ruined that scene though for me.
Well, you don't know what kind of compromises they've had to make. Sometimes they have a bad crash and then they have to redo a scene, and they decide that there's only certain things they can do, so they edit it a little bit. But
I'm just not a fan of the shaky cam that we tend to get in modern films. Might make it look more
stylized thing.
Because they try to make it look like the cars are going faster than they're actually going. So they do this sort of shaky stuff, and they'll shake looking at the car, and then they'll shake to the famous person driving, and they'll make it look like the famous person is driving while it's shaking and so on. And it's just an easy way of cutting it together. But, you know, the driving, if you know, this is no Ronin, put it that way. I mean, you know, that game, that film had some amazing driving scenes. I mean, down some of those narrow lanes and stuff like that at like 100 mile an hour. Crazy, guys.
Yeah, still one of the best car scenes, I think, in the last, when did that film come out, about 20 years ago?
Yeah, ever.
That's amazing. Ever. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, one of the best.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of good ones in like Jason Bourne or something like that. But
it's the grittiness, isn't it, that really sort of captures your imagination. Now, we see the CGI in Fast and Furious, and it's just so off-putting, you know, do it the old-fashioned way. It's the best way to do it, you know. If you don't have the drivers, well, go and find them. You know, there are guys out there.
Amazing. When I was young, like one car scene I really liked was actually James Bond, Diamonds Are Forever. And there's a bit when he races into a car park and all these police cars are behind him, and then eventually messes them all up and goes on two wheels and gets away. And it was brilliant. And at the time, that was like my favourite car chase scene ever. I just love that scene.
That's the scene where he goes into the alleyway one way and then comes out the other way on two wheels.
That's right. Yeah, such bad continuity. Yeah.
To get around that, they filmed another shot of the car kind of flipping over in the alleyway from the inside, which made no sense whatsoever.
No.
Oh my god,
love it.
And they got Fast and Furious 8, which just has scenes of literally cars, like raining cars. I don't know if you see it, if you've seen it, where what's her name, Charlize Theron, kind of hacks into like every car in the city.
Right,
and you just see cars falling off of car parks and stuff like that. It looks so over the top, but
yeah. I mean, when you're jumping from tower block to tower block and stuff like that, you know, it's all getting a bit crazy.
Yeah, they're just trying to find ways to outdo the last film. Bear in mind, the last film had cars parachuting out of a plane. Where do you go from there?
Space, isn't it? Space is the final frontier there.
Yeah, and there's still 2 more Fast and Furious films left.
Can you imagine? Oh my goodness.
Honestly.
Yeah, it will be. It's got to go into space. That's the only.
That's what everyone says. That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
Nowhere else for them to go.
No.
Underwater, I guess. James Bond style.
Exactly. Well, I'll be seeing it next week, even if you guys don't. So I'll probably give my feedback on it in next week's podcast.
Yeah.
I just can't stand a 2-hour film with Vin Diesel. That's the only problem.
Oh well.
God.
Nothing wrong with a bit of Vin Diesel.
Come on, mate. He's such a nice guy.
I don't know, he's just got that annoying kind of vacant look on his face all the time. It's just, not a fan. Anyway, we should probably move on to the Q&A now, I think. Let's go on to Facebook. Right, first question then. What's her name? Faris Sharabati says, any more info about the Porsches to be included in GT Sport? And what are your thoughts on the free tracks that were added to GT Sport in the patch? I've already covered that in terms of our thoughts of the tracks. And no, there's not that much info actually on the Porsches that will be in the game.
No, not yet.
Let's find out which one it was.
So it's showing the 911 GT3 RS.
That's the one, yeah.
Is that the only one confirmed, actually?
That's the only one confirmed so far.
Yeah.
More
so
to come, we imagine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Although, Gran Turismo will have more roofs than they do Porsches.
I don't mind that, actually. I do like a roof, a good old yellow bird. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. Right, next question. Adam McCann says, will Forza ever be on PS4? And do you think Dirt 2 or 3 should be backwards compatible on PS4? Well, that's never going to happen because PS4 doesn't support backwards compatibility, sadly. Forza on PS4. I would say no, but then again, like I said, we've got 8 Fast and Furious films, so anything can happen.
Yeah. No, and no. It will just never happen. Yeah.
Microsoft will die before that happens.
That's what will happen. I mean, put it this way. I mean, Sega had to practically die to enable Sonic to appear on, with Mario. I mean, goodness me. I mean, admittedly, if you said to me 25 years ago that Sonic and Mario would be in a game together, we'd never have believed it. But no, with Forza, it's a different thing entirely. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Over Gran Turismo's dead body.
Stephen Milton says, why isn't PSVR compatible with all the racing games and sims on PlayStation 4 and PS4 Pro?
Not powerful enough. Not powerful enough to do it. No, not powerful enough to do it justice. It can't handle the processing. It's, you know, the PlayStation, PS4 was not a powerful console, and Xbox One in the first place. So both a little bit underwhelming. And of course the VR, it can do simple VR experiences, but as for racing games, we need much better resolution. So yes, you'll be able to do it on the PC, but you know, we're still not there yet, even with the PC. You know, we need next gen VR.
I mean, the games we've seen PSVR compatibility with are the sort of the games that come out every few years. You know, you're not going to see an annual iteration game with PSVR compatibility probably this generation, because it's such an undertaking, all the optimization that needs to take place. A lot of resources need, you know, to be put into place in order for that to run. So I imagine we'll see PlayStation VR 2 compatibility with annual titles next generation, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Annette says, how was it to play Project Cars 2, and can we expect any kind of racing like the British touring cars or world touring cars in Project Cars 2? Obviously, we got our Project Cars 2 discussion coming up shortly.
I mean, as for the other stuff, we really don't know all the different cars and features that are in the game yet. There's still lots of stuff being announced, but it's clear with some of there's been some really cool cars being announced recently for Project Cars 2, really variety of cars and stuff like that. So it's clear there's going to be some more disciplines in there. Watch this space.
Nicholas Pascal says, do you have information about Forza 7?
No, nothing yet. We have, I mean, all we know is it's coming, but we'll be at E3 and we'll be getting video content, hopefully some interviews, and so you'll watch it here first.
It's only like, what, 2 months away now, E3, so that'll come very soon. It'll come around so quickly. So really looking forward to that.
2 months today, to the day, we'll have our, hopefully our Forza 7 footage up.
Awesome. Exciting. Gabriel DeFournier says, when is GT Sport coming out?
Saturday. It's coming out Saturday.
Yeah, when is it coming, guys?
So we knew it was coming in April. We did say.
I expect the release date will be announced at E3 2 months today. So,
but I don't suspect it will be that long.
No.
They're saying with the European beta, they're really going to test these servers properly. So this shouts to me like they're really in the finishing stages now, and they just want to really stress test the servers.
The net code.
Yeah.
It's an esport game. It's got to have solid net code. If that doesn't work, nothing. It all falls apart. So they need these beta tests. You know, it could be out. Could be out in September. You know, maybe November. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Got to be a crowded period towards the end of the year with Forza, GT Sport, and obviously Project Cars 2.
My goodness.
Lots of competition there. Pete Hugzock asks, what are your thoughts on the Porsche expansion for Horizon 3? We kind of covered that earlier, didn't we?
Solid selection.
Solid selection, but I was expecting a few more cars. I was expecting it to be a proper expansion rather than a Porsche pack.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the last we'll see of Porsche in Forza Horizon 3.
No, there'll be more to come.
Ian McNally says, what is your favourite racing or driving game cover art? That's a good question. That's gonna,
oh my God.
I have to think about that. There's quite a lot of racing games released in the last few years.
I don't know, recent or all time. I know there's some really cool Wipeout cover arts.
The thing is, I think cover art in general has become so generic this generation. If you go back to previous generations, it was a lot more imaginative and creative. Whereas now, look at the shooting games, for example. They just stick a guy with a gun on the cover and that's it. There's no kind of creativity at all.
And even the steelbooks have been, pretty disappointing.
Yeah, racing game art I think has been lacking lately. I mean, it's not always that easy, I suppose, to slap a car on a cover and make it look distinctive. But I should say that one game that does spring to mind is WRC3, because it actually had artwork by the artwork was hand painted by an Italian artist.
Yeah,
that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting. You've got a feature on the website about
that. There's
a
feature on the website. Yeah, we saw the original paintings as well at the studio,
which were excellent.
Yeah.
Very detailed. Yeah, difficult. I mean, I go right back to the PS1 era, I think, for some of the best covers on racing games. Like you say, Wipeout had a really nice varied range.
The original Wipeout.
You know, the original Ridge Racer had cool artwork for what it was at that time. You know, it was drawn, it was hand drawn, it was unique. These days, it's all very sort of refined marketing stuff. It doesn't have a unique identity to it, and that's problem with artwork now with video games. I don't know, they're not as collectible in that sense as they were in some respects.
And that was iconic. Like, you know, in 20 years time, will we look back on the artwork of, say, Forza Motorsport and think, wow, what a great cover that was? Well, no, probably not.
No, we won't. It's all very it really varies, doesn't it? I mean, but those are the only ones that really sort of stand out to me. And then you've of course got your SNES and Mega Drive stuff, which was of course all drawn stuff as well, which was all really cool. But then when it comes to the more modern consoles after that, you know, it sort of all went, you know, became more minimalist.
Yeah, I think in a way, because I suppose physical releases are getting less popular, so people don't see the need to make as much effort in a way. I guess in terms of steelbooks in my collection, I do quite like the Drive Club and Forza Horizon free steels, because they actually offer something different to the main game artwork. I
like the Drive Club steelbook.
Yeah,
very nice, very nice.
It's very
just
minimalist,
what I
isn't
like
it?
to see. Yeah, I like that a lot. Very cool.
And it's very distinctive compared to the original artwork.
Yeah.
And then we get steelbooks like Dirt 4, which is an orange box with a logo on it.
Yeah.
Not very inspiring.
No.
Any covers for you, Kevin?
Do you know what? No, I couldn't possibly answer that off the top of my head. I'd have to really sit down and have a good think about it. You know, sit down and search loads of the old racing games and sort of come up with a top 5, I guess.
Do you know, there's one easy solution, guys. If you just look at our Facebook, it does actually include loads on there.
Actually, yeah,
that is a good point. Yeah,
there is a lot on there, and it just goes through a cross section of various different stuff. But there's some cool ones like Initial D that you see on there and stuff like that.
Motorstorm was pretty cool, I guess.
Very action heavy.
Yeah.
What about Driver? You could say that's iconic. I had to get that in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's quite minimalistic, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's memorable, but
I'll tell you what is pretty cool. Ridge Racer Type 4. That's a pretty cool stylized game there as well.
Yeah.
R4.
I can safely say Ride 2 is one of the worst.
Yeah, it was pretty dull, wasn't it?
It doesn't get much duller than that.
No. It
a close-up of a bike with a blank background. Nothing else really stands out to me. It's all quite generic, isn't it? Some stuff is sort of generic. It just shows a car on the cover, and you know that they've got an ad deal with that particular car company, so that's why that's the hero car, as they call them, that's on the cover. Yeah. And it's not really about, you know, it's not about the game so much as the ad deal that's supporting it. I mean, that's why I know I keep mentioning Ridge Racer, but even Rage Racer, you know, it had a very sort of grey, sort of stylized box, but it was very cool at the time. But Outrun?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Nice, bright and vibrant.
I guess you could argue it really does kind of advertise the Ferrari partnership, but that's what made the game.
Exactly. And look at Stunt Race FX, the little toy cars on there. You know, it's unique. It was different. It was quirky. You know, it's something you just wouldn't see now ever.
No, exactly. Like that. Yeah, we need more imagination when it comes to cover art.
Oh, yes.
Okay, next question then. Just going on to Twitter. James Allen says, will Roof vanish from racing games now that the Porsche license isn't restricted anymore?
I hope not, because some of those roofs I've fallen in love with over the years, you know, because we didn't have Porsche for most games, so you settle for roof, but then you sort of learn to love the roof, you know, so it's like, I would hate to see like the CTR2, BTR, Yellowbird, all those lovely, awesome Widowmaker cars vanish. So hopefully, no. Yeah,
I mean, the absence of Porsche really did do Roof a huge favour in terms of publicity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with the recent Porsche explosion, no doubt they're going to sell more cars. You know, so I'm sure they're celebrating with champagne right now, Porsche.
Gran Turismo really introduced me to Roof. I'd never heard of them before.
No, much like millions of other people. So I would hate to see it go. It's just one of those brands that we sort of learned to love over the years,
So in that sense, it wouldn't be a worthy trade-off then for you, Kevin.
I would like to see the two coexist because I think Roof really has a place in racing games, because it's become, the place to go to, with the lack of Porsche, and I think they deserve that exposure that they had still. So I'd love to see the two sort of coexist.
Yeah, definitely.
Best of both worlds, basically.
Yeah, aren't they the only reason they're there in that position is just because of the lack of Porsche?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see many Brabus cars in games.
No,
that's a good point. James also says, what are your thoughts on Alonso competing in this year's Indy 500?
I think it's wonderful news. I think it's a surprise news, wonderful. Alonso is one of the best drivers we've ever seen in Formula One history, ever. It doesn't matter, I find Formula One history is always a bit skewed. And like you say, all anyone ever talks about is Senna, and it forgets about all the other great drivers that have lived in that era and everything else. And I think in the modern Formula One, people look at Vettel and Lewis, and I firmly believe that if Alonso had the same car, he'd be beating both of them. But he's not got the car, he's not had it. He's been a bit unlucky, it has to be said, with various teams at various points. But had he been in Ferrari the last 2 years, he wouldn't have won any world championships to sort of 3 years. So he's done something different. I think it'd be great, new type of racing for him. The Indy 500 is an enormously dangerous event. I think it'd be good for McLaren as well. Excellent. Really, I'm well up for watching it now, but also racing as Fernando if they have his car in the in Project Cars 2 as well. It'd be amazing, especially with VR. Wow, that'll be intense when it comes to the Indy 500.
And finally, official Adam on Twitter says, as a rally fan, do you think I should buy Project Cars 2 just for the rallycross aspect? And would it be good if you're using a controller?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's
definitely going to be worth it.
In terms of pure rallycross, I mean, it offers more than Dirt 4 and Dirt Rally.
Yeah.
So,
and it's arguably more hardcore.
It's a sort of one-stop shop, isn't it, Project Cars 2 for motorsport? So
I think if you're interested in rallycross, you want to have a go on that, then Project Cars 2, you can't really go wrong, because rallycross content there is probably the best you're going to get. And you've got Project Cars 2, so then you can go and play the entire IndyCar series and many others as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one aspect of Project Cars 2.
I mean, it's one aspect. You've got more tracks than Dirt 4, so you've actually got a superior rallycross game. The question is, is it approachable to play? Can you turn assists on? It needs to be approachable. It not just a sim, because it's quite hard when it's on full sim mode. I can tell you that it's very challenging. So it needs to have an arcade sort of, it needs assists to help you guide round. But it's so far, based on what we've seen, it's the superior rallycross game based on what we've seen so far. And besides that, can you use the rallycross cars on all of the other circuits in the game? And if you can, then there's probably some awesome short circuit racing you can do in there. To sort of bump that up as well. Plus, we don't know what's going to come in the way of DLC. So, it'd be interesting racing, like, take rallycross cars around Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, for example, would be awesome. It's got some really cool drifty corners. I mean, they do drift racing around Brands Hatch anyway. So, and that's pretty awesome. I can tell you, having been in one of the drift cars once, it was a bit crazy, but awesome. So, yeah, there's so much potential there. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Right, I think that's it then for this podcast. Does anyone have anything else to add?
Yes. Hopefully we should be getting the GT Sport beta on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we will be going through the various aspects of the game, and no doubt quite a few videos coming soon. So do check that out.
We've got stacks of Project Cars 2 content from this preview event coming up on the channel as well. So good content there, plus team chat, which may or may not be up by the time this podcast goes live. And also Star Wars Celebration is happening this weekend. It should be noted, and we're looking forward to seeing the new Last Jedi trailer. It should be awesome. Also, there's been a leak this week on Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the trailer. I was going to talk about that actually. I was going to say, Martin, you know what? It looks all right. It looks more Knights of the Old Republic to me, and it doesn't look as realistically Star Wars as the last one. It fortunately it focuses on the prequels, and
that's never good.
And I'm like, oh damn! The first Star Wars Battlefront has the most amazing feeling of being in the original Star Wars trilogy. Some of the levels and Tatooine stuff like that. It's like wow! It's like being there. I was hoping that we would see a lot more of that in this. Yeah, and that
it all looked very authentic.
So authentic, absolutely unbelievable. And I was really hoping that virtually everything in the first game was going to make it into the second one, but with a one-player experience to support it. Now it looks like it's going to be a mix of prequel and stuff that happens after Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens. That's what it looks like in the...
I think the single player will definitely cover that era, I think, if nothing else.
So
it wasn't actual gameplay there, was it? I thought it was just a kind of pre-render or cut.
No, a lot of it looks like it's pre-rendered, but it's just there's a girl that you see at the beginning, the main character, and she just looks a bit wooden. She just looks a bit Mass Effect Andromeda. She just doesn't.
Yeah, I thought that actually. Yeah,
she looks, compared to the characters in the first one, which I will say, don't get me wrong, Luke sounds terrible in Star Wars Battlefront. I can't remember what he says now. He always says like, "I'm sorry," in American way when he chops somebody with a lightsaber. I had to, and it's like he's a proper dude bro guy that they got to be Luke. It's pretty awful. But having said that, the characters moved spot on. It was amazing. So yeah, I'm excited about it because it's one of my big games this year. I will make a video on it. And I will see if I can hunt it down somewhere at E3, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? I'm buzzing for the new Star Wars film trailer. I just want to see it.
Yeah, I think same here, definitely. I hope they put more VR content in Battlefront 2 as well, because I was so impressed with the Criterion developed one in the original game.
I think they're absolutely going to do that. I think they're going to do that.
Still one of the best VR experiences that I've ever experienced on PSVR. Right, so yeah, we'll look forward to that then. But that's it for this podcast for now. Thanks as always for listening, and do keep sending us in your questions for Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer them next time. But yeah, that's it from us, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Abbreviation, that's the one. Right, I'll start off. Right, let me kick this off again. Sorry about this.
Don't worry.
So yeah, it's a shame. I wish they sort of had a sort of mesh up with the name. If they would have called it Snow Moto Utopia Racing Freedom, then you'd have the I've forgotten what it's called now again. What's it called? Abbreviation.
Acronym. Abbreviation.
Right.